Author POV. Sunrise entered in room through curtains, disturbing Wayan's sleep. She rubbed her eyes and looked beside her, only to find her husband missing like any other day. She looked here and there for search for him and her shower running in bathroom. He will not go office today, I swear on myself. I will not let him go, she mumbled and got down from bed. Making her way toward living room, she found Mr. Kim going through newspaper, Della sipping her coffee, Hun and Yunshil linking each other, grandmother watching her favorite drama. Uncle, she called Mr. Kim, who folded newspaper close before looking toward her with a smile. Yes, my child, he said, faking a smile which didn't even reach till his lips completely. Today Taehyung isn't going office, she said, and picking up a plate from taking out breakfast. Her word made the furious, and without thinking once, he asked in angry tone. And who are you to decide this? He asked in a loud voice, gaining everyone's attention. First of all, his one and only precious wife, she said dramatically, and I don't think I need to tell you about my part of share in your so-called game industry, which is even in this market because of my husband. She raised her brow, demanding, waiting for two to reply, who gulped and again put a smile before shaking his head. But he started and Ryan left the plate which was on her hand, making everyone jump on their seat. But what? She raised her brow, and before Mr. Kim can reply, Mrs. Kim Lala jumped in conversation. But nothing. Today Taehyung isn't going to office. It's decided. She looked toward plate with sad look and raised her head. Glad her husband. What will you do in home all day, honey? Just go office, she said, and wine smack. Taehyung, who was watching all this secretly, wiped his sweat and come out from his hidden spot and start heading toward main entrance with his MacBook, which his head down. You are not needed in office today, he said in a bitter tone, like he is talking with one of the servants of Kim Mansion. Taehyung looked toward Mr. Kim, heart shined in his eyes. You don't deserve this treatment, at least not at front of your wife, his mind whispered. But as usual, he lowered his eyes and started walking toward his room, tear of anger brim in Wayan's eyes. Her lip trembled and she clutched her fist tightly before putting her feet on broken pieces of plate and letting out a painful scream. When his feet stopped in mid and suddenly a scream came out from his mouth without his permission. Throwing his MacBook away, he ran toward her, and before he can even catch her, she fell on floor whimpering. Kim stared toward him in shock because they are listening his loud voice for the first time. Tear welled up in his eyes as he stared her tear. Their eyes met, and her tear came out from her eyes like they were waiting for her tears. How many times I told you not to break plates? He asked in a soft and cracked voice before helping her and picked her in his arm without a little bit of hesitation. From now onward, she will not break plates, she murmured happily, with when heard by Yunshi, who laughed. See what you did to yourself. His lips were close to her and he held her close to him without giving a damn to his family member. One smile with tear and wrapped her both arms around his neck and kept her head on his chest and listening his scolding with smile. Why are you smiling? He asked a little bit angrily, and this made her cry. All she heard was his concern, nothing else. As soon as he entered in their room, a sob came out from her mouth. Even before she can control herself, his words stopped. He felt himself going numb because first time he saw someone crying a part of his own self. It is paining a lot, he asked with a laugh, and she shook negatively before pushing herself more close to him, if that was possible after sticking completely with him. Then why are you crying? He asked in a cracked voice, and she cried more, making him worried. I feel like crying, she sobbed and placed a kiss on his heart, and his grip got loose on her, making her fall on bed. He stared at the wall in front of him numbly. Ryan winked loudly, breaking his grace. He quickly realized his action. His mouth fell open. He gave her most an innocent look before kneeling down beside her bed and check her for any injury. I am sorry, but you should not do that, he said in a breath and quickly headed toward her feet. It was you who is responsible for my action. I mean, who do these things suddenly? A small smile tugged on his lips, and she completely went in her own zone, looking toward her husband. She just don't know why, but she felt like crying whenever she saw his innocent face. She felt herself king of world after being in his arms. Before she can control herself, she hid her face in her palm and crying hard for the first time in her life. Her feelings were overwhelming her. She don't know what to do with herself and him. All she was able to do is crying, nothing else. What is wrong with you? He panicked, leaving her wound half dressed. She shook her head negatively, whispered nothing. Stop crying. He held her in his arms, hugged her tightly, like his everything depended on her. His heart beat quietly against his ribs cage, and he pulled her more in hug with tears. He don't know why she's crying this much. He doesn't even know why he's crying. Her lip got connect with junction of his neck and shoulder. He felt completely when she kissed him there and wrapped her both arms around him more tightly. Now what will I do all day? He asked as soon as their emotional breakdown environment turned normal. You can stare at your beautiful wife all day, she said, hiding her smirk and pulling an innocent look. Haha, not funny. He twisted his lips like a kid and turned on his phone, turning away from her. Let's go for shopping, she shouted all of a sudden, and he jumped on his place. His phone fell down from his hand and he stared her with pleading eyes, not wanting to go for shopping. You will not come, she asked, raising her brow and getting down from bed. She picked nearby vase and stared. He raising his brow, he first looked toward her with best puppy eyes, but when he noticed her forming deeply more, he sighed and climbed down from bed. She placed the vase back on its place and jumped in happiness, hurting herself once more. Taehyung quickly pulled her to him and checked her feet before inhaling her, giving her, "Are you serious?" crazy look from she ignored royally. In next half an hour, they both left for shopping. She was all happy and excited on her way to mall. He was just smiling, lightly seeing her happiness. He didn't realize, but in each passing day, wine covering more and more part of his heart. See how cute that baby dress is, she said, pointing toward a baby dress, and he smiled. Imagine a little baby wearing that dress. See that sock, she pointed toward a little baby's socks, and again went in her awe mode. When, for the last time, please tell me, what are you doing here? He asked, and she smirked before pointing toward a lady who was holding a little 6-month-old child in her arms. Is she your friend? He asked, straightened his tie. He prepared himself for greeting that lady. No, she said before making her way toward the lady. She waved her hand toward the little baby who was facing her. What is she up to? He said to himself, and his innocent mind struck, telling him that he himself in a blank of case of her. We too will have a cute baby like this in someday, she said, caressing her stomach, and Taehyung's eyes popped out from socket. He rubbed his hair from clearing his eardrum and went close to her. The lady turned back facing Ryan, and he feared for the worst. He seriously don't want his wife to get a slap from the lady in the store.